Hello, good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. We are coming up on that magical time of year. No, not tax season. Valentine's Day, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of men everywhere. Ha ha ha.
Now, first of all, there's no reason for that. I mean, Valentine's Day isn't something that should scare you. In fact, our research department, oh, wait, I'm
We
the
have a research budget?
Yeah, me. We have no budget. So, our research department, me, did some looking into very interesting facts about Valentine's Day. And you know what? We forgot to do something that is very typical for us. They have no idea who you are. You didn't tell them. What if someone's new to the show?
I'm Craig, aka Coffee,
And I'm Cuddles, also known as Anna Marie.
and the research department. Apparently, we didn't have a board meeting for this, so
We have a board?
we must. It's a 2x4 out in the garage.
We have a 2x4 in the garage?
At least one. We stand around, and that's our board meeting.
You mean you were actually able to get into the garage?
Scary, I know.
That's an impressive feat. But talking about our garage is a subject for another time. I think we should get right into Valentine's Day. So, when people think of Valentine's Day, they think of flowers and chocolates. And I'm sure you went into your grocery store around December 26th and already saw all the Valentine's candy lined up. And
I think our local Ralph's had like half was Christmas, half was Valentine's Day or something. I've been to Walmart's where like it's not even the holiday that it's supposed to be, and they've already cleared it out and they put up the next holiday. Pretty soon it's gonna be year round. It's gonna be one big holiday throughout the year.
I'm telling you, we need to open a store and just call it holidays and literally have an aisle for every holiday. I mean, we're talking Arbor Day, St. Swithin's Day, or
Swithin's Day.
That's the one.
I don't know. That's
Earl
something
of Sandwich Day, Popcorn Day.
St. Swithin's Day. I think it's something either my mother or my grandmother came up with. I don't remember.
Well, see, then it's going to get an aisle in the store.
Okay.
And then no matter what holiday it is, we will have something for that holiday. And if we don't, we'll get something. We'll make something. We'll source it out. Now, where were we again? Oh, Valentine's Day. So here's my question for you, dear. What year do you think the very first heart-shaped box of chocolates was introduced? Go ahead, take a guess.
The very first one?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The earth formed and cooled.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see. The
dinosaurs were exterminated.
Before that, the first creature crawled out of the primordial ooze, looked around and said, forget this, and went back. 1916.
Very good guess, but wrong. I'm sorry. The very first heart-shaped box of chocolates was first introduced in 1861 by Richard Cadbury. Now, I'm sure everybody knows the Cadbury name when it comes to chocolates, right?
He's the egg guy.
Chocolate eggs.
Well, yeah.
Or chocolate cream-filled eggs, which I've never understood, but that's okay. So he was he was the son of John Cadbury, who was responsible for starting packaging chocolates in fancy boxes, all in an effort to increase sales. So in 1861, he introduced the very first heart-shaped box of chocolates. Did you know that today, more than 36 million heart-shaped boxes of chocolates are sold every year?
That's all a desperate last-minute shopping boy.
That's 58 million pounds of chocolate. My teeth hurt, and I think I have to call my dentist.
I'd say it gave me diabetes, but too late.
That's not funny. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that's funny. Now, what else do people think of? They might think of cards. They might think of flowers. Now, what color of roses do you think is the most popular color on Valentine's Day?
Pink.
interesting, but
Red.
red is the first one because traditionally it symbolizes love. Now, if we're talking a deep pink color, that would be happiness. If we're talking purple, that symbolizes royalty. Now, white sympathizes sympathy, but apparently giving white roses on Valentine's Day is okay. That confuses me because if a white rose symbolizes sympathy, why would you give that to somebody you love on Valentine's Day?
I don't know.
Here's these white roses. I'm sorry, I love you.
I'm sorry.
I don't get it.
I don't know. That's a weird thing. So Cadbury came up with the heart-shaped box of chocolates.
Uh-huh.
And was it a year later when he introduced the map to what was in the box? Because you have no idea. My mother used to pinch them because her aunt used to pinch them to figure out which ones were which before she ate. Because you don't want no nasty chocolate. You don't want like liver flavored or something.
First of all, if there's liver flavored chocolates in your box of chocolates, you've been shopping at Hogwarts. Okay. Because that should not be happening. Now, of course, with those guides that let you know which chocolate is which, sometimes they're printed on the inside of the box. And if somebody puts the box top on wrong, then it completely messes up which chocolate is which.
Yes.
And if somebody doesn't think that the little, I don't know, like protective layer that has the map printed on it, as you call it, and somebody decides to throw that away, then you really don't know. And hence you go to pinching them.
Or cut them. I've seen people cut them in half.
I've seen people take a bite out of them, put it back when they realize that's gross. I've seen people do it. It's disgusting.
Uh-huh.
And since we're on the topic of chocolate, not things that are disgusting.
I was going to ask.
But since we're on the topic of chocolates, candy is the most popular gift to give.
Nothing says I love you like here, have a coronary.
Well, I mean, a lot of people give the love of their life chocolates or very sweet greeting cards. They might get flowers, gift cards, money. But the biggest thing that I see people buy around Valentine's Day, not to mention other holidays, is candy. But that's not even what people spend the most on. Americans spend the most on jewelry and activities to do on Valentine's Day.
That's just nuts.
I mean, it's possible
not the activities, but the jewelry. I don't understand.
It's possible Americans are planning to spend more than $5.5 billion on jewelry.
With a B?
With a B. And almost $4 billion just on a special evening out. Now, you don't have to spend billions of dollars to let someone know you love them.
Yeah, who are you, Congress? Spending billions?
We're not getting political on this one.
Oh.
So,
the views expressed by the host are not necessarily those of the podcast.
I can get like a button that I can push that says that, or no, that's another button. That's for something else. Well, let's think about it. I mean, that is a lot of money to spend on a night out. Not that one person is spending $4 billion. But I mean, the restaurants are going to be packed, and you probably had to make reservations weeks ago. But I mean, everybody's going to be wanting to get into their favorite restaurants. And, you don't have to spend, a lot of money to take somebody out. You don't even need to go somewhere. You could just do something really, sweet and thoughtful at home. You don't have to spend a ton of money to let somebody know that you love them.
See, right? I need to interject here and say, when you say you don't need to do that, unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there, both men and women, that demand all these things be done because it was a day on a calendar. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do anything special for Valentine's Day. It's a cool day to go out and spend money on dinner and, a movie or whatever. And you could be all romantic, but I don't understand the arbitrary, it's Valentine's Day, you must spend $100 on me or $500 on me or you don't love me. Fortunately, I do not have such a girlfriend in my life that demands these things of me, because I am such a romantic, or I'm a romantic so much that every day is like Valentine's Day for her. Now, she doesn't get roses or candy every day, but usually there's some sweet gesture. And we talked about this before in a previous episode where, just doing something nice for somebody is a gift in itself. So there you go.
This is true. I mean, you don't even have to go out and, buy a pre-printed card. You could, make your own card. You could do something on the computer. You could even do something simple like getting a pad of Post-its and leaving messages all over the house in places that, your partner's always going to go. Like if your partner always goes to the medicine cabinet to get their contacts, you could put one on the inside of the medicine cabinet door. If they go to a specific drawer to get their toothbrush, they open the drawer, boom, there's a note. If they always go to the freezer to get ice to put into their Stanleys, no, we are not endorsed by Stanley. Hint, hint.
So I could put a note in the freezer that says there's no one as cool as you.
Oh, that's clever. That is clever.
Every once in a while.
You could put one in the drawer and says you are top drawer.
There you see.
Dun-dun-dun. Now, the reason why I bring up the Post-its thing is because Coffee here puts a note in my lunch every day without fail. And if somehow the note doesn't get into my lunch bag, I get a text with a photo with that note.
Photo evidence.
Now, I know a lot of parents, when they're packing lunch for their kids, will put a note in so the kid knows that they're being thought of. And I'm not positive, but I'm the only one I know of at my work that gets notes in their lunches. I'm not saying that I am the only one, but for those of us that hang out, and have lunch at the same time, I'm the only one that I know of. But it's a very sweet gesture, and it lets me know that he's thinking of me. Same thing with emails. I always get an email at 5:00 in the morning. And it's always got a message and a song attached, and it's just very sweet. Now, perhaps one of our listeners is thinking, ooh, I want to make my own Valentine's card. Where would I go to find information? Well, you can always do a little hunting online and, find suggestions on what you could put into a Valentine's note. But it wasn't in recent years that this has been a thing. There were booklets back in the 19th century. They were called a Valentine's writer. So if you weren't sure what words to write to your loved one, you could purchase one of these Valentine's writers, and it would just contain sample texts of things that you could write to let your special person know that you love them.
Nice.
I didn't know that. I think that's really cool.
It is cool. As long as you didn't like mix them up or make it look like you took one from column A, one from column B.
Well, I don't think they were necessarily written in columns. I thought you were going to say, as long as you didn't mix up who was getting which one. But in the 19th century...
Well, that's why you date women with the same name. I've heard. I mean...
The views expressed by Coffee are not endorsed by Cuddles. In fact, that's just wrong. Please don't take his advice. Don't do it. Just don't. Now, of course, we're not saying that you only have to take care of the human special people in your life. You have fur babies. I bet you do. You've got a dog or a cat, a bird. Okay. Goldfish aren't furry, but you might have a pet fish or a turtle or a salamander or whatever animal you have. But on Valentine's Day, they need a little love too.
All right.
They definitely do.
It sounds like a marketing ploy.
So back in 2020, around 27 million American households got Valentine's Day presents for their pet dogs. And more than 17 million got presents for their cats. So that's probably like an estimated $750 million just on Valentine's Day gifts for pets.
I don't understand that. I don't agree with that one.
I got McCoy a Halloween present, and I get the animals Christmas presents. Now, I haven't gotten them Valentine's Day presents before because honestly, I just never thought about it.
Yet.
Don't just assume. You know what happens when you make assumptions.
Why do you have to be a butt?
Why are you calling me a butt?
Because you assumed.
No. Now, I know you're saying, come on, Cuddles, get to it already. You know what people or some couples okay, not even couples, what some women and maybe some men assume might happen on Valentine's Day.
Engagement.
Because Valentine's Day is one of the most popular days for proposals. I mean, think about it. Valentine's Day has to do with love and romance. And, that's not the only time people might get engaged. They might get engaged on New Year's. They might get engaged on Christmas. But Valentine's Day is a biggie. One survey that was taken even showed a lot of people, they would love to get engaged on Valentine's Day. But the way I see it is you don't need a huge holiday for an engagement. You don't have to do it on Christmas or New Year's or Valentine's Day. Hello, McCoy. He's just making a mess of the studio here. You can do it on whatever day might be special. I mean, the first day you met might be special, or just some random, the person's not expecting it at all. I mean, that's how I would want a proposal, is when I'm not expecting it. It doesn't have to be on a major holiday. It could just be, an unexpected, this is the right moment. And you just do it. And McCoy is being very, he's being himself right now.
Rambunctious.
He is being rambunctious.
So did Valentine's Day, is there any truth to it's because of Saint Valentine or?
I'm actually glad you asked that, because Saint Valentine was not just one person.
Okay.
So many people might already know that Valentine's Day was named after the patron saint, Saint Valentine. But there's confusion over which Saint Valentine. So let me see if, I can shed a little holiday into this. So according to history.com, there were two men named Valentine, and either one of them could have been the inspiration for the holiday. Now, one Valentine was a priest, and he was in Rome in the 3rd century. Now, here's the way the story goes. So, Valentine the priest decided that he was not okay with Emperor Claudius II's ban on marriage. See, the emperor thought this was going to distract the young soldiers, so he said, that's it, you can't get married. And Valentine decided that he was going to marry couples who wanted to get married anyway. Now, of course, this was illegal, and he was caught, sentenced to death, but the reason he did it was in the spirit of love. Now, that's the first Valentine. Now, another legend suggests that Valentine was killed because he was trying to help Christians escape Roman prison, and that he sent the first Valentine message himself while he was in prison, and he signed the letter, "From your Valentine."
That's where I grew up.
I'm familiar with the one, and I've actually done stories with my kids when we talk about Valentine's Day, and we have actually talked about the priest who was illegally marrying couples. So now Valentine's Day also has its roots in an ancient pagan festival. Now check this out. So some people believe that Valentine's Day commemorates the death of Saint Valentine on February 14th. But other people believe that the holiday has its origins in a pagan fertility festival called I'm probably going to say this wrong. I believe it's pronounced Lupercalia.
Sounds right to me.
Okay. So that was celebrated on February 15th in ancient Rome. So it was dedicated to Faunus, who was the Roman god of agriculture, and the Roman founders Romulus and Remus. And the day was celebrated by sacrificing animals and smacking women with animal hides. And smacking women with animal hides was believed to encourage fertility. Now, ladies, I don't know about you, but I smack with an animal hide, and I can't imagine any woman would want to.
Mm-mm. I wonder if that's where the mink coat comes from.
I have no idea.
Interesting thought.
What, that women were wearing mink coats because it was similar to getting smacked with an animal hide?
I don't know.
Huh. We'll have to research that.
I guess it's better than being slapped with a fish. If I had to choose,
Does that
bunny hide.
Does that go back to Second Life when we bought those fish slappers and we were going around slapping people with a fish?
Yes.
Okay, so we've told you this before that we actually met on a virtual game, I guess.
Virtual world game.
Virtual world called Second Life. And in Second Life, you can do things that you can do in real life and even some things that you cannot do in real life. And one of the things we bought were these fish slappers. So you attach them to your avatar and you could actually slap people with a fish. So that's why he's bringing up fish slappers, because we would walk around and slap people with fish because we just thought it was funny.
The Troutomatic.
Oh, the Troutomatic. People right now are listening to this or are going to be listening to this, just shaking their heads and saying they've had way too much caffeine.
Never.
How's your coffee doing? Your coffee's doing pretty well. Now, a lot of people think that Valentine's Day has been associated with love and that it's just always been. But it officially became a love type of holiday in the 1300s.
Okay.
So at the end of the 5th century, the Roman Pope Galasius, I'm probably saying this wrong. He declared that February 14th was going to be St. Valentine's Day, but it wasn't until the Middle Ages that Valentine's Day became associated with love and romance. And this tradition first started from a common belief in France and England that birds started their mating season on February 14th.
Interesting. I had no idea.
I had no idea either. And it kind of makes me wonder who was watching the mating habits of birds. Or maybe that's where we get the talk about the birds and the bees.
That could be.
That could be. Oh, that birds and the bees, that could be.
I wasn't even thinking.
I've had too much soda today. I've had too much. So I know a lot of people go out and they buy Valentine's cards, and people did not start exchanging cards and letters. Or they started exchanging cards and letters around the 17th century. But in the 1840s, that's when the first Valentine's Day cards were mass produced here in the US.
By Hallmark?
No, they were sold by a lady by the name of Esther Holland. She was known as the mother of the American Valentine, and she's credited with making them commercial. And she's remembered.
It's her fault.
No, it's not her fault, but she was the one who made these very elaborate cards. They had lace and ribbons, and they were very frilly and girly and just really pretty. And I guess that's probably why some people, when they make their own cards, go and get lace doilies and things like that, because it's probably a tribute to her, which is actually really kind of cool. Now we talked about flowers, right? But I forgot to mention that around 250 million roses are grown in preparation for Valentine's every year.
They sell 250 million roses?
No, they get about 250 million roses ready. They prepare them for Valentine's Day. It's not that they sell them, because there's a science to it because you want to make sure that these roses are fresh and are ready for February 14th. So because you want the freshest flowers, then places like Ecuador, Kenya, Colombia, they actually ship roses here to the United States because usually around this time of year, we get very cold. We get colder temperatures here and in, different parts of the US. So roses wouldn't do so well. But in, say, Kenya, for example, they don't have cold temperatures at this time of year like we do. So roses being grown there would do better than roses grown here.
Interesting.
I mean, our rose bush out there isn't doing so hot.
Well, it's because our idiot landscaper keeps cutting it back. So letting it grow.
I think he means well. Now you were asking about cards before.
Mm-hmm.
Americans send around 140 million cards.
That's a lot of cards.
On Valentine's Day. And that does not include the ones that kids give to each other.
Right.
Valentine's Day is the second biggest holiday for exchanging cards. The biggest holiday for exchanging cards is Christmas. Now, I'm a teacher.
Really?
And
that's where you go all day.
That's where I go all day. I don't go and play bingo all day. So teachers receive the most Valentine's Day cards annually. And that actually surprised me. And then of course, and then it's followed by children, mothers, wives. But I wouldn't think that because I get like little cards and drawings and stuff from my kids throughout the year. So I wouldn't say that the most I get are on Valentine's Day because I feel like I get little, sentimental things from kids all throughout the year.
Public service announcement, spot 2. Teachers do not need more coffee mugs. They are running out of room to store them. Thank you.
What he means is, I am running out of room to store them. Now, this is not to say that it's not appreciated. I mean, I get it. When people are shopping for teachers, they're trying to think, what could a teacher use? In my case, a clean desk. But I get a lot of candles and coffee mugs, and it's always appreciated. And if there's somebody who, can use mugs for something or needs candles, I always am able to help people out. So I think you're trying to sound like a big hint to my students, aren't you? With that
No,
not at all.
Because we gave away like 50 mugs or something.
We didn't give away 50 mugs. It wasn't that many.
40,
I mean, it felt like that
42?
many.
It was a lot.
Okay, well, I didn't realize it was so much. Now, everybody celebrates Valentine's Day differently. And however you choose to celebrate Valentine's Day with your friends or your family or that special someone in your life, do it your way. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. In fact, you can celebrate it without spending any money at all. Just make it a day where you let the people you care about know that they are important in your life.
Sadly, my mug is empty, so that means it's time for something. Probably time to go. That's it.
Probably time to go. And no, it is not time for you to go get more coffee. Hey,
No.
what happened to this mug? There's a chip in my mug.
It is, because as I was pulling it out of the dishwasher, it hit one of your new glasses and went dink.
Oops. Poor little mug. So from Coffee and I to all of you out there, have a wonderful Valentine's Day. We hope it is full of love and everything that makes you feel warm and giddy and special.
As always, we thank you for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. We hope you have an amazing week, an amazing Valentine's Day. The views here, we like to joke around, but this is just our 2 cents worth. Your mileage may vary. We love you all. We'll talk to you next week, and God bless.